The brand new event exclusive Christmas tunes don't have a lot of lore, which is a shame because I like lore, but I've managed to decipher it and am ready to show you all. With that being said, I'm your host Quasar, and let's get into the lore. Sadly, the Christmas tunes do not have a lot of lore yet, but as time goes on, I'm sure we'll learn more about them. The information I do have is very interesting to say the least. I found the reason they turned twisted mainly thanks to dialogue from Ginger, which I will go over completely in a few seconds, but first I have another point I would like to cover about Boba and her twisted. Another reason we can be sure that it is isolation that is causing them to turn twisted is thanks to Twisted Bobette's 50% research. As soon as you get 50% research on her, her information card reads, one of the main holiday tunes of Dandy's World. Created to craft toys for everyone has left her envious. Which may not sound like much, but keep that thought in mind while I cover the next topic. Okay, so I tried to record the actual conversation between the two characters, but I struggle with that because I'm one person and playing as two accounts until the stuff actually appears is an issue. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and read out the conversation between Ginger and Roger now. Keep in mind that it is character for character. I made sure to type everything exactly the way it was in the wiki. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and read it. The conversation starts with Ginger saying, how's your little investigations going? To which Roger responds, they aren't little investigations. I'm uncovering a big picture. Then they go back and forth a bit before Roger says, yes, plenty happens outside of the Christmas season when we see you the most. To which Ginger finally responds, right, I suppose I just forget sometimes. Okay, hilarious little side note here. It says that because of the 3 periods before Ginger starts speaking again, she may have memory issues from the place they were locked up, but it clearly says, I just forget sometimes, so my point still stands, but my reasoning is kind of right, but kind of wrong, both short-term and long-term memory loss. Okay, back to the scripted version now. Another thing to note, that's a pun that you'll get in a few seconds, is on the Christmas floor that appears every 5 floors, there is a note from both Arthur and Delilah, who, if you weren't aware, are the founder and co-founder of Dandy's World in the lore of the game. I'm going to go ahead and show the note and read it off right now. This is the first of the 2 notes, this one being written by Arthur. It reads, Delilah, ever since Christmas past, the holiday tunes have often been found hiding in corners around the place. It's honestly concerns about the staff, and when I try to talk to the tunes, they seem to have less interest. You may want to give them a checkup and make sure everything's working well. We don't want unhappy tunes. Now that leaves a lot to be analyzed, but before we even think about getting to that, we need to look at Delilah's response, which is the second note. And it reads, that behavior is natural to them. Don't worry about it. Christmas is gone. We don't need them interacting with the public during off-season. That's a waste of resources. They'll be right and in working shape when holiday comes back. Until then, they'll want to be alone. Naturally isolating. Think of it as a good thing. And Delilah's response answers so many questions. It's absurd. I don't have time to go over all of them today, but I will some other day. Firstly, it explains why all of the holiday tunes, specifically Bobette was stated, are envious of others, mainly because they have nothing. It was forced upon them. As stated, they don't get resources. It's still unclear if tunes drink ichor or eat something like a 3D rotating burger, but either way, refusing to feed, which is basically an employee, is kind of a terrible thing to do. And now to my next point, the fact they are isolated. This actually explains a lot, including Rudy's behavior. It is the reason that he is always in denial that it is not Christmas, as well as likely Cole's resentment for Christmas being the only time that she is able to actually exist. Luckily, we know that they do have something to do in their rooms thanks to a conversation between Ginger and V, which I'm not going to recreate that one, the other one took 6 minutes. Basically, Ginger says that she binge watches V's trivia show, and that confirms that Ginger at least has a TV, which is something to do. And now, in conclusion, the final part of this video, I'm going over everything I've explained one last time. Arthur and the other employees of Dandy's World were worried about the Christmas tunes. However, Delilah stated it was natural, despite this clearly not being the case. They wanted to interact, but to save on resources, they were locked away for 11 months out of the year, which is the reason they turned twisted, being driven mad by loneliness, simpered to Sprout, Cosmo, and Glisten. Well, that was the theory. I really hope you enjoyed it. I worked really hard on this video. In fact, it was the first one that is fully scripted. With all of this being said, it genuinely makes my day better, and I appreciate it so much when you guys like and subscribe and all that stuff. Also, I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers by the end of January. We're halfway through the month and about halfway through our goal. Please subscribe. Have a terrific day. I'm your host Quasar, and I hope you tune in next week. Stay entertained. Bye.